long enough. I think I better
I
wind
forgot
it down right
You
now.
got to get your big beat this morning.
Oh, I downed it. I'm good. It's not helping, but
It was his bribery for a star.
Really? I saw it.
it kicks in for the service, and then it's good for an hour.
Then you take a nap.
God willing. Trying to stop me.
When do you leave for tourist?
This is an emergency.
Next Sunday night.
Well, that's next Sunday.
Okay.
She's got hair. That girl has hair.
Are you gonna be here next Sunday?
I'm going to be here next
He's gonna be
Sunday.
here next Sunday.
And the flight is Monday morning?
Sunday night. Well, I'm going to St. Louis tomorrow for a few days, and then next Sunday night. So it was.
Just a
It's not
faster thing
scheduled.
for St. Louis.
Yeah. It's this PALS program thing that it's for like after you get out of seminary for 3 years, I think you're eligible for this PALS program, which is essentially every district is supposed to have one, or every district. So like a pastor who all the new guys kind of come together and we talk about like, hey, you know, how's things going? Here's some pitfalls that you might look out for. It's just like new guy support. And I think they picked me because we're centrally located
What is
as far as the state
Is
goes.
it just Central Michigan you're gonna work with, or?
Well, in theory, no, it's just for everybody in the Michigan district. So, I mean, we do have a guy who is just installed it way, way up, like at the very
Up in
top
the
of.
UP, you mean?
Just no, on this side, so under the bridge,
Oh,
right under the bridge.
Oh, land.
Mackinac.
Well, like it's Traverse City, but east and on the coast
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I don't remember
So-
where.
Is there many new ones?
This year I think we brought in 4 or 5 new guys, I think. And then there's we for the last 2 years, so any of the new guys from the last 2 years, they're still eligible. So we're trying to get it going. It's some places it's easier, some places it's harder. It just depends how the program goes. I was involved sort of my first year out of seminary, but I didn't really get too much out of it. The funny thing is, it's supposed to help you with when you hit those initial road bumps and then obstacles and whatever. And when I got out for the first, I had a good couple of years where everything was just smooth as all get out. And as soon as I was would have gone out of the program is when all the problems started. So it was but so anyway, so yeah, that's what I'm going to St. Louis for. It's just it's not training, it's just kind of re-equipping, I guess, encouraging. I mean, if you wanted to encourage us, I wouldn't do it in St. Louis, but that's just me.
So you're going as a cheerleader?
Sure. I'm going because the Synod pays for it.
So do you fly or drive?
Oh, we fly, yeah.
Without the airplane?
Well, we're going Southwest, so I wish it kind of was.
That would impress all the new guys, huh?
They still wouldn't show up. They still wouldn't show up. Hey, speaking of vanities, says the preacher. Boy, that dovetails right into our readings today. So today, 8th Sunday of Pentecost? I don't know, it doesn't matter. Once we get into this season, it doesn't matter what Sunday it is. But, so the Colossians reading is just continued in Colossians. It doesn't necessarily work in with the other ones, although it does talk about covetousness and idolatry, which is the point of the gospel. The gospel is Jesus' parable of the rich fool, to which they've paired Ecclesiastes, vanity of vanities, everything is vanity, which I think is probably one of the few times we actually get Ecclesiastes in our readings. It just doesn't come up very often, just like Job. Job only comes up at Easter, I think. No, it comes up in Easter, and then there's one Sunday where it's the, who are you? Were you there when I created all these things? It's a
Yep.
good fire and brimstone. But I think it's rather telling that we don't have a lot of readings from Job or Ecclesiastes, because nobody wants to hear it. Job and Ecclesiastes are rough texts. They're great. I love them. I think Job is an
All the more reason.
Oh yeah, I mean Job is an outstanding book. Ecclesiastes is, it's hard to get through it, and it can kind of be a bummer sometimes. But it's,
I like that last paragraph in Ecclesiastes.
this is also vanity.
24.
There's nothing better for a person that he should eat, drink, and find enjoyment in his toil. This also I saw is from the hand of God, for apart from him, who can eat or who can have enjoyment? For to the one who pleases him, God has given wisdom and knowledge and joy, but to the sinner he has given the business of gathering and collecting, only to give to one who pleases God. This also is vanity and a striving after wind. Which is, I mean, yeah, it's fantastic. It's like, so, here's, for the one who pleases God, these good things, to the one who doesn't, is given these things. But even all this is vanity and striving after wind. Even our attempts to make sense of it all and try to well, let me rationalize it. Let me find what I can make sense of all this. And he's like, it's all vanity. I love that.
It's where a lot of people go.
Oh yeah. I like Job and I like Ecclesiastes because it feels very real and experiential to me.
Yeah.
A lot of the Psalms are great. I don't want to pray a lot of the Psalms because, they're just so uplifting. And I'm such a downer sometimes. I don't feel that. I love your law, O Lord. Teach me your ways. I'm like, ugh, I don't feel that. I want to do my own thing. But Ecclesiastes and Job, I feel that one. I had a... Well, I got TV. Nah, I'm not going to do it. I forget. It was a conference in Oklahoma. It was a pastor's conference thing, and I don't even remember the context of what we were going through. But the presentation was kind of showing different kinds of Christian music and praise music, worship music, whatever. And just how, it's trying to generate a feeling and an emotion, whatever. And, it wasn't attacking it so much, but just here's what a lot of Christian music seems to be like. I know, right? But then he played, and this is going to be, so I'm sure only maybe one of you or two of you here would know the band Nine Inch Nails. Oh, okay, hey. It's a band that started when I was in high school. It's industrial. It is hard, harsh, nihilistic. At the time, and have you heard of Marilyn Manson?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they were before Marilyn Manson, but they were Marilyn
Charles,
Manson. What's that?
No.
She the sister of Charles?
No. She is not. They were Marilyn Manson before Marilyn Manson. So they were causing a great panic amongst, pearl clutchers everywhere because they were so dark and brooding and just, nihilistic and meh. And they had this one song where the lead singer I think wrote all their songs, but it's called "Hurt." It was a departure from their usual style. It was very, I would say, calm, brooding song, and it was about, I think, his heroin abuse. And the lyrics were I hurt myself today to see if I could, bleed. And it just goes, and it does have, I'll read it. It's a very dark song.
That sounds familiar, oddly enough.
Hold on to that because that's kind of the point. So the lyrics go like this. I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. To focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The needle tears a hole, that old familiar sting. Try to kill it all away, but I remember everything. What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end. You could have it all, my empire of dirt. I will let you down. I will make you hurt. And it goes on. And it's very, I mean, it is very just like raw, and this is how he's reflecting on how it felt when he was shooting up. Because it hurts. It brought nothing but pain and suffering, but it was all that he had, and everyone left him, and he had nothing. I mean, it's just a despairing song. The fun thing is they played it at the conference, but they played a recent cover of that song by Johnny Cash, which is what most people probably know the song by. And it's funny because the lead singer initially thought, like, why is Johnny Cash covering this song? This makes no sense. And I think now it's like he understands, and he's like, that version is the best version. And the video is great. This was like just a few months before Johnny Cash died. And it was just Johnny Cash and his guitar. And the video is him, and it's showing like video and pictures of his life, and kind of then like a Johnny Cash museum now that's all emptied and falling apart. And it's just the way the way he sang it, the imagery, the fact that he was dying, was just like, oh, and it bumped it up into a whole new level of like, wow, because for him it wasn't about heroin abuse, it was just about like, what do I have? I've hit these heights, I had all this stuff, but it was all emptiness, vanity of vanities, right? It was kind of that same idea. And I loved it that they played this at this pastor's conference, because like hardly any of the pastors knew what the original song was all about. So they just played the Johnny Cash version. And their point was, which one feels more like a Christian song? And people were like, well, I mean, the first one, but what feels, and they're like, what feels more real and like that you identify with better? And you're like, oh, hurt, obviously. And so they weren't like trying to say it was Christian because
Is it Christian or Lutheran?
Just Christian.
Just
But it was they made the point that it was probably a truer Christian song because it just dealt with the reality of death and sin and pain and suffering. And it's like that's usually we try to avoid that, and our songs are most Christian songs nowadays are more upbeat and positively focused, and it's like that's not always reality.
So, like say, that's the theology of the cross, as opposed to
Oh,
the
sure.
theology of glory.
Yeah,
It's in our music. It's the way we present Christ
Sure.
to the world.
sure, yeah, yeah. So it was a pretty heavy kind of moment, and but that's why I like Job. That's why I like Ecclesiastes. They're not fun. Job's a slog. It's long.
Yeah, but life is trials
Yeah,
and tribulations.
Just like life. Ecclesiastes is. It's weird because it's wisdom literature. Solomon. It's he's the smartest of all, right? And he's going through all this stuff and saying, well, and I put myself to the task of understanding this, and this is the height of understanding. And he says, and it's all vanity. And then I came to this, and I got here, and it's all vanity. So that's a fun trip.
So how is it a far description of vanity?
Vanity, vapor, nothingness, uselessness. And the point of Ecclesiastes is it comes down to basically there's God and there's everything else.
Oh, that makes sense.
And this is vanity.
Yes.
This
That's perfect.
is everything. I mean that
That finally makes sense of
oh yeah, see, hey, perfect. We solved Ecclesiastes for you. I've done I think one Bible study on Ecclesiastes. It was rough, or maybe two. But it's I kind of feel about Bible studies about Ecclesiastes the same way I feel about Revelation. It's just so repetitive.
Yeah.
That it gets boring for me because it's like every week it's the same message. But
But
we need that.
that I can finally read the book and
Right.
get more of a message from it than I could before.
Oh, absolutely. And it's fun because you know, you read it and it's like, you know, some of that everything else is like, seems like it's leaning really towards over here, like good things. Like here's good stuff, you know, but if it's not this, it's that.
The puzzling thing about it is like the way that it's written by the preacher and the way the preacher connects those good things to God.
Right.
Like, there's nothing better for a person but to eat and drink and find enjoyment just from the hand of God.
Yeah. and
This
it's like
is what God gives us.
it's
to
what
do.
God gives us, and if we're, and the fun thing is, it becomes vanity if it is in any way divorced from God. If it doesn't find the source in God, then even those good things given from God are vanity, which ties in with the message today, which will be on the gospel, which is on idolatry.
It just sounds so convincing that the preacher has fallen away
Oh
from
yeah.
God.
Well, yeah. This is not like Solomon is
like-
not coming here being like, I've got it all figured out. It's kind of like he's beating him up.
Was this that, do we know whether this was written at the end of Solomon's life?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how far, like if it was, but I mean, this is
Because by then he was into paganism, right?
this is one of his. Well, I mean, he's definitely drifted. But yeah, so the sermon is about idolatry, and it's the same kind of thing because you know, we usually like we don't. When we hear idolatry, I think our brain might go to like Old Testament, you know, Asherah poles, the golden calf, you know, this is my God. Where it's like, okay, clearly, you know, pagan gods, okay. But in our experience, what do we idolize?
It's right there. Everything.
Yeah,
else.
well, everything else, yeah. what did you say?
Ourselves.
Ourselves, money, family, those are good things.
Enjoyment. I mean,
Enjoyment. It's a good thing. I mean, God doesn't give us all this stuff not to enjoy. I mean, we're not like Martin Luther in the monkery.
it comes from God, and if you're using it
Right,
as everything,
right.
then it is vanity.
Yeah, and the great thing is and are you still laughing at monkery? Well, I go
Visual.
I think monastery. Oh my God! All I could think of was convent. I'm like, well, that's not right.
All I can think of is monkery business.
We're just trying to describe.
I'm going to take off a star. for
Oh,
that.
John, here you are again.
It's
That's the other Mary.
monkery. I honestly could not think of monastery.
That'll confuse things.
You know what? By this point, if anybody who here has been here for the last 6 years, they'll see that and be like, yeah, that's fine. But the parable that Jesus tells.
It's going to be a
'cause-
good sermon today.
Oh, it's just
You
fantastic.
better read this sucker.
It's good. Oh, believe me, I take it in some weird places. Trust me.
Ad-libbing's not your strong
Well,
suit
you-
this morning.
Because okay, so someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance." And Jesus says, "Man, who made me a judge or arbitrator over you?" And then he said to them, "Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." And he tells them the parable. Land of a rich man produced plentifully. Thought to himself, what shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops. I'll do this. Tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I can store my grain and my goods, and I'll say to my soul, Soul, you have enough laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, Fool, this night your soul is required of you. The things you prepared, whose will they be? So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God. And the point I make in the sermon is that usually we hear it as just very simplistic, stuff bad. Don't focus on your stuff. Focus on God. Be rich towards God. Don't be rich towards stuff. The man in the parable is blessed. How did he get all his stuff? From God. Yeah, I mean, it's crops, right?
Mhm.
I mean, he might be a hell of a farmer, but still it depends on God. So God actually gives him all of the stuff. It's like the stuff isn't bad. It's a gift from God.
You could have said, with all this abundance, y'all come.
Connie's on board.
All right.
All right.
Oh, I didn't work for that.
You didn't. It was a gift from, there we go. See, I'm doing that because Ron's going to go crazy when he sees me. I think he's still smarting because he lost a star for something about eunuchs, I think.
Maybe he'll come to Sunday.
I think it was his question, like, how can you tell if he's a eunuch? I'm like, you lose a star for that one. It's real easy.
Yeah, you're right, Lee. You'll have to come to Sunday Bible class.
He's missing out here.
Just to keep up.
That's right. So the beauty is that the guy has all this stuff blessed by God. So, I mean, money is not an issue. It's good. Family is good. Enjoyment is good. How we idolize it, that's the problem. And so, yeah, this guy idolizes his money because he says, soul, you have enough. And what does God say to Paul? My grace is sufficient. My grace is enough. Because Paul's like, this hurts, this sucks. And God says, I'm enough. The man in the parable says, I have enough. And God's like, no, you don't. So it's his trust in God. And the fun thing that where I'm taking the message is that is kind of not redefining idolatry, but understanding it better. And the point that I make in it is that idolatry isn't replacing God. Truly, it's not us replacing God in our hearts. God's still there. It's just we've demoted him. And the example I use is like money. You know, all of us to some extent idolize our money. We find security in money. If you don't think that, I mean, do you think you'd be more secure and have a safety net if you had more money?
No.
Good.
Don't go there.
Oh, you're on a roll.
we idolize our money to a certain point. But the thing that our traditional understanding of idolatry is not we worship it, because nobody worships their money. Well, I mean, Scrooge McDuck, sure. But I mean, in practical, nobody worships their money.
We rely on it.
They don't
We rely on
realize
it,
that
and
they
what do we pray to? How do we pray? We don't pray to our money. We pray to God that we
Give
keep
us
our
more
money.
money.
Exactly. God becomes the servicer of our idols. That's what idolatry
like a vending
does.
machine.
Is it puts, we have God here, here's the thing we want to rely on, so we say, so we want God, and we come to God so that he makes sure our idols thrive. And that's what this dude is doing when he comes to Jesus, because, and I make this point in the sermon too, where, the man who's like, give me the inheritance, tell my brother to share the inheritance. He's not seeking Christ for wisdom. He's not saying, like, how should we divide this? He's not saying, how should I feel about this, or what's the God-pleasing way to deal with it? He says, I've decided my brother's an idiot. Tell him to give me my money. So he is literally coming to Jesus in order to
Increase his wealth.
to fuel his idol. So he hasn't abandoned God. He hasn't abandoned Christ. He goes to Christ. Christ is just a method to keep his idol running. And that's the tricky thing about it. And this is why I try to move away from a simplistic, stuff is bad, don't idolize your stuff, to be like, we idolize a lot of stuff and things. And we do it thinking like, well, I'm not idolatrous. I don't put this stuff up on a pedestal. It's like, but you have demoted God. I mean, we do have a tendency to be like, all right, this is more important, and God is only in service to these things. And it's a great way for us to have our cake and eat it too, because we can say, well, I haven't given up God. Like, well, that's true. You've just shifted priority, because it makes us feel better. We can have our idols still, as long as we keep God in the mix somewhere. Which makes it a lot stickier and but I think that's the issue. Monkery. kind of stupid. Anyway,
Is it the want of something that you don't have that can be your idol?
sure, it can be.
Because I know people that's all they can talk about what they
Oh yeah,
really want, what they really need.
yeah. I mean, I would say like in practice, wealthy people like, and here's probably the go-to is like, well, wealthy people clearly idolize their money. It's like not necessarily. I would say poor people probably idolize money more.
I agree.
Because usually when you're poor, you think, well, if only I had more.
Right.
Now, a wealthy person might think, well, if I had more, I'd be more secure. But it's like, I don't know, they're already probably feeling pretty secure. I mean, more is good, sure. But I don't think I would define it as they're more passive idolatry, whereas the poor person might have more active idolatry with money. Like, we all have it. We all work with this money
It's
idolatry.
something like those that have will get more, and those that don't have won't get.
Right. And looking at like I got to make sure I've got enough in our retirement, because what's going to happen?
That's looking for tomorrow. Let tomorrow take care of itself.
That's right. And then that's me thinking that I'm even going to survive to retirement, which likely not. And if I do, then the kids will take care of us.
If you run out of steam, you're not going to need that.
But yeah, we have all kinds of worry. And coming back to the vanity thing, is like, so yeah, all these worries, concerns. And the fun thing is, like, we look at it and it's like, well, there are legitimate concerns, health. As a pastor, father, husband, I should take better care of myself so that I can live longer to provide for my family, for you guys and for my family. So I need to be a better steward of my health, and that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. But this is a better thing. And that's the thing, is like, I mean, should I take care of myself? Sure. What should I worry about more? That my family has faith. That they're strengthened by the Holy Spirit. My bigger worry, and this is where the thing comes in, it's like my worry is always for my kids, especially. That they're healthy and happy and that free from harm, whatever. The most horrible feeling you could have as a parent is that something, your children suffer. Vanity of vanities. That's vanity. Because what I should be worried about is that they have life. That is greater than anything. That is even greater than my children's suffering, which is a really weird, uncomfortable place to be.
It's rough to ask God to make your children suffer so they're closer to Him.
Or yeah,
That's
well,
hard.
It's well, he doesn't need to make them suffer. They're going to suffer anyway.
Well, they have you for
But
a
I mean,
dad,
that when you see the, amen, when you see them suffering, I
you're
mean,
driving them to the cross.
the prayer is always like, remove it from them and not work through it.
I was just gonna say, remove a star.
He's going to take my name off the board.
Probation. Let's be theological here. Purgatory. We're not taking away your stars just yet, but we are putting you down here. So the next star you get, you don't get there, you just get out.
You deserve a star.
This is in
however,
accordance with-
you're in purgatory. So
This is
we'll
also,
sort that
teaching you
out.
about the Catholic, Roman Catholic faith.
Aren't you glad you got up this morning, Lizzie?
Learning a lot, aren't you? But yeah, it's a crazy thing to pray, like, because my prayer would be, take the suffering away from my kids. But really, the real prayer should be, let them cling to their faith while they go through this. Strengthen their faith so that they can endure this. you know, my prayer is certainly going to be take it away from them. I don't want them to suffer. But if they have to, if it be your will that they suffer, keep them rooted in you.
If they gain something from suffering, then
Well, and the real thing is they have what they need.
that's right.
But we often think like, well, no, there needs to be more. It's like, no, you just everything else is vanity. Yeah, it's really a hard. This is one thing that I've struggled with mightily for a long time, and I'm sort of coming around to it now. It's hard though, and I brought up before a movie called Silence. Great movie, and what it was, we brought it up in a pastor's little circuit meeting, where it was just like 3 of us. Our circuits didn't always gather together all that well. In Oklahoma, somebody brought up that movie, and so the idea was, you know, here's this Catholic priest who's a missionary in Japan. He's got this little Japanese congregation who he's converted to Christians, but at the, you know, whatever time period it is, I forget which century it was, but the surrounding Japanese culture was against that and started to persecute the churches, and basically said, like, told this priest, if you don't recant, we're going to kill all your congregation. We're going to, in front of you, we're going to kill each and every one of your parishioners unless you recant. And the idea was to use that as a symbol, like, look, we've broken this faith, to warn other people's away. And what had happened was the Vatican had heard that he had recanted, and this was a big major deal. So they sent 2 priests to investigate, and so yeah, and it's really, I mean, it's very like, oof, it's pretty brutal. And then the end of the story, they find this priest, and he's like, yeah, you know what, I couldn't do it. You know, I scared my people, and it looks like he is submit himself to this pagan whatever. Hey, buddy.
Let's go.
Alex, come back.
Hi, Daisy.
Hi.
Alex, come on. Come on.
Now.
You're not part of this class. Come on, this way.
This class. This class.
Okay.
This class.
Okay, come on. Let's go.
So at the very end, what you see is this initial Catholic priest living this quiet life in his little Japanese house, and I think he removes like the secret compartment in his floor, and there's like a crucifix. And the idea is, you know, yes, he might have recanted with his, you know, he might have publicly recanted, but he always held firm to his faith. So it's kind of like it portrays it as like he's the hero, kind of. He's a paragon of virtue because he not only spared his congregation, saved his congregation from death, but he also held on to his faith. And when we talked about it back then, I really struggled with that because one of the pastors was like, yep, he did the right thing. Or no, he didn't do the right thing. He did the wrong thing. He should have never recanted. In fact, they all should have died. And he should have died too. But he should have never recanted. And I was like, because then it was like, well, what if somebody comes into your congregation and brings your family up and holds a gun to their heads and says, okay, recant, or else. And they're going to go down the line, pull the trigger, unless you recant. What do you do? And I was like, recant.
Outwardly.
Well, and that was the thing,
Inwardly,
like,
you stay-
outwardly recant, but, you know, because it's just, you know, I'm lying, right? I'm lying to them, not to God.
Yeah.
I'm being faithful to God. But according to this, like, no, that not only condemns me, because now I'm giving confession that I recant, but it also harms my family and harms my congregation because I'm saying, like, no, this life here, preserving our life here, is more important than faith in God.
What about the martyrs in the Colosseum?
Yeah.
I mean, our tradition of the faith since the beginning has been.
Yeah.
But it's the same discussion because the early church sat and had the same
Church always has
discussions
this.
back and forth. The early church fathers write about that.
And we, I mean, praise be to God, we don't have faced that sort of persecution. But we have the same, a modified version of that where, I mean, we choose every day to recant our faith in a way to choose other things above our faith. You know, so we're always putting ourselves in a precarious situation if we let anything come above this. And that's a hard, like I said, it's hard because like in that story, the hero is the priest who saved himself and his family. It's like, we're not the hero when we save ourselves, just in the very definition. You don't save yourself. You can't.
God.
Jesus saves you from this. So it's like, yeah, it's rough. It's hard. But I mean, that's the cross. The cross wasn't easy. I mean, Jesus himself prayed, take this cup from me, but by your will, let it be done. We shouldn't think our life should be any different. If we're baptized into his death and resurrection, if we are crucified with Christ in our baptism, then we should expect nothing less. And that's hard.
The road's narrow.
Yeah. I mean, thanks be to God. There's a ton of this. He's very forgiving and patient with us. You know, so it's not like, you know, we slip up and we're, oh, see, you're out. It's like we slip up in faith. we're forgiven sinners, thanks be to God. We're covered by grace always. But that's like, hold on to this because that is what gets you through.
But it has taken the church a long time to even get to that understanding as well. Going back to the discussion about the early martyrs and stuff, the church had to fight
Oh, sure.
a long time to decide whether to even allow those people back in that had recanted.
Yeah. Oh,
You
God,
know, I
yes.
mean, it was like one and done. Okay, you renounced your faith.
Oh,
We're
absolutely.
not going to let you back in. I mean,
Yeah.
we're sort of talking about this discussion as though it's, you know, it's kind of settled now as time has gone on. We think there's a lot of grace, there's a lot of ability to deal with where we've fallen apart. The church had not always looked at it quite so
No, it's been problems since
quite
day
so
one.
easily.
Yeah, because what he's talking about is, you know, in the early church, and you don't get it in Acts. It's taught, you know,
Just- yeah,
in the histories and, you know, whatever. The church fathers will talk about this, where, you know, when the persecution got heavy, you know, people were like, said like, you know, reject Christ or else. And there were Christians who did that. They rejected Christ, either thinking that, well, if I just say this, I'll be spared. But when the their churches found out that they did that, they were like, no, you're out. You rejected Christ. You are a sinner. You are dead. And so to be brought back in, there was a process. I mean,
If there was a process.
it's almost, you know, like in synodical circles, where if you're a pastor and you get put into the black abyss of I forget what it's called, but your ordination is kind of held hostage and like you don't know how to get back in.
Well,
But same thing, like they had to like, well, you need to do enough good works. You need to prove to us that you truly have faith, and then we'll allow you back in. It was because they didn't know what to do.
it's not all in history, though. I mean, isn't there a lot of persecution to Christians in other countries? We
Oh,
don't
sure.
seem to have it here yet.
Sure. I mean, it happens everywhere. That kind of stuff from the early church, it happens in denominations now.
They're being beheaded all over the place over there.
Sure, yeah, and honestly, that's it's I would say it's almost easier to deal with that kind of heavy persecution because it's like you have no choice, you know.
You
I mean,
are one or
Well,
the
what
other.
can they do?
Whereas
Just
here we're
take
kind of
my
this
life.
whole mushy sort of like
They can't take God away from me.
yeah. Times of persecution is usually where the church flourishes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's why the church is flourishing. The body of Christ is flourishing with like Middle Eastern refugees and people coming out of that. The church is just blowing up. And in Africa and then in the West, it's like because we don't face persecution.
But the more, if you say, I can recant and still rely on grace, you put yourself as an individual every time a little closer and closer and closer to that edge.
Sure.
You're gonna lose your faith.
It's possible,
You
yeah.
might not even know when it happened.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you know, and then no.
I mean, I would never say it's impossible. You know, could somebody live a covert faith and be saved? All things are possible, right? I mean, I would say it gives a really bad witness. It's not good. And yeah, there's a danger in that. If you repeat something over and over again, it sinks in. It gets in there. The same with any sin. If you excuse even the little things, this one little sin over and over again, you excuse it enough, eventually you don't see it as a problem. And yeah, your heart is hardened. So yeah, I don't see any way where it's at all. I mean, it's not a good thing. I don't know how you maintain that. Is it possible? Maybe. But yeah, it's like this is heavy duty stuff. And especially when he says vanity, everything's vanity. You're like, I've discovered that this is how we have to view things in the best possible light, and that's vanity. Because it's not just Jesus. It's not Christ alone. And that, Lutherans should know this more than anybody. It's Christ alone. Christ alone.
So is that what the song is gonna be today?
No, I should have. No, the song today is "Take My Life and Let It Be."
Close.
But and Christ alone would have been good, because I do get into LCMS idolatry. Well, not a little bit. That's but to show how even as good proper LCMSers can fall into an idolatry that subjugates Christ to a degree, that puts him below, and we should know better. Christ alone. In all things, Christ alone. Except when it comes to our doctrine and practice. Because we become doctrine and practice and Christ sometimes. And to be fair, this is not like everybody, all the LCMS. It's just, we have that tendency. We all have tendencies towards this. Different denominations have tendencies towards legalism, works righteousness, that kind of stuff, enthusiasm, whatever. Ours is just, we have tendencies. We'd be stupid if we thought we did.
Or church-tainment.
Whatever, yeah. But even in that, it's like,
Entertainment.
the last thing I'll say is like one of the there's always like, in our circles at least, the contemporary style, which is entertainment style worship, bad. Liturgical, historical worship, good. It's like, well, yeah. That's like, okay, well, we can have that argument, whatever. But either way you fall on that, whichever way you lean, if you go and you're thinking, well, this is the only way, this is the only way, the best possible way, this is the way it should be done in order to you're turning it into an idol. And it's like, well, that music is just, they play that music because they enjoy it. It's like, I know a lot of stuffy Lutherans who just enjoy the hell out of some hymns. Even the really long, boring ones that are like, oh my God. It's like, they love it. And here I'm like, well, you're not supposed to love it. That's enjoyment.
Oh, no.
But I don't engage in that argumentation anymore because it's just pointless. Because on either side, we
It's all
idolize.
vanity.
We create. Thank you.
Don't you get there.
We all know that you got a third star. All right, so it's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, this is fun.
We'll see if I get. Yeah. Oh God, I'm going to St. Louis tomorrow, so I'll be right in the
Purgatory.
Yeah, I'll be in the lion's den. If anything.